Hey, Wendy. How's it going? Can you hear me okay? My hair is sticking up. It's distracting me. Hello, hello. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Professor Brown Breaks It Down. We're going to give it a little bit of time. Hello, hello. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear me. So today, once we get going, our topic is going to be about what is a spiritual awakening, right? I figure why not start at the beginning? So we're going to be starting at the beginning today with what is a spiritual awakening. So just to give everyone a brief introduction, it is only 101, so I'm going to wait a little bit, let some more people come in. But my name is Erin Brown. I am on YouTube, obviously, as Consciously Erin. Hello, Angela. Hi, Kenny. Welcome in. As Consciously Erin. Let me just put this here. Now I can see. Now I can see the chat. Okay. So here's a little bit about me. I am an intuitive. I am an energy channel. I read oracle cards. I read oracle cards live every morning on TikTok. But what my big thing is I'm a teacher. Hello, Cosmic Dragon. Welcome in. I'm so happy to see you guys. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to see everybody here. So the idea is, as a teacher, I wanted to figure out how could I put together what I was learning about myself, about the world around me, in a way that could be helpful for other people. So I created Professor Brown Breaks It Down. This is a series of interactive classes. This is a series of interactive classes where I have prepared a lesson, and the way it starts is I'm going to read to you what I have written, and then after reading what I've read, we will open the floor to discussion. We're going to talk about it. Write down your questions. We don't want to forget to answer them. If I don't have an answer to your question, I'm good about 100% telling you I don't know the answer to that question. But often you'll find just by talking about it with the people in the room, you may get more of an answer than you even thought possible. Hi, Mindy. Welcome in. Thank you so much. Hey, Lori. Thank you so much. What a beautiful feeling to receive all this love. I absolutely adore this. Is the live going to stay up after the live is over so we can come back another time? So my understanding, this is the first time I've really done this on TikTok, so I don't know, but my understanding is the video is put up on my channel once it processes, however long that takes for YouTube to do. I don't think it's very quick. It gets put up and it's left up for a little while. I don't know how long. I'm still learning YouTube, so if anybody knows, let me know, Getting back to talking, thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. I was just about to say something about the Schumann resonance, and I just got an update on my phone that we are getting another spike. So what people tend to know me for is my interpretation of the Schumann resonance. Now, the Schumann resonance, hello from France, my goodness. Hi, Cosmic. Yes, you are watching me on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I'm also on TikTok, and I also am on Instagram if you wanted to find me. So the Schumann resonance is a scientific measurement of the activity in the ionosphere of the Earth. This is energy bouncing around between our ozone environment layer and the Earth itself, kind of bouncing around. This energy comes from many different places, but a lot of the time it comes from solar flares, stuff going on with the sun. What I'm talking about when I'm doing an interpretation of this is I'm not talking about where it came from. I'm not debating that whatsoever. I use an app. Do me a favor. I get very distracted. That's my own fault. I'm working on it. But write down your questions because I do want to answer them all. But if I'm in the middle of talking, I will lose my train of thought. And I'm so sorry, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to keep anybody here longer than I need to. So I'm trying to be respectful of everybody's time. You know what I'm saying? So with the Schumann, I'm not debating where the energy comes from. I am just simply saying we are all vibrational beings. If we are receiving a significant amount of electromagnetic energy, it is logical to go with the idea that we as physical beings are affected by this energetic movement. All of my reports are about how this energy is affecting us on an energetic and spiritual level, such that our chakras are involved, our energy auras are affected, that sort of thing, all of that. Hello from Ontario. Oh, no, no. Don't apologize, Natasha, at all. Please don't apologize. It's literally my problem. I'm trying really hard to get over it. It's hard. Let me show you what the app looks like. This is what I see when I pull up the app. This was yesterday, this was this morning, and this is where we are right now. I am looking at multiple different things when I look at this. This is the heartbeat of the earth itself. When I am interpreting this data, I'm looking at these two things here. I'm looking at the incoming energy and where it affects us in amplitude, right? Amplitude is the size of the wave, not the distance between them. This tells me when I look at this, I'm looking at the different wavelengths, and these mean different things to me, right? These mean different things to me. Each of these lines represents a different area of energy in your body to me. Where I get this information, okay, so here's the thing. This is an intuitive interpretation of a scientific measurement. As a scientist, I understand that that's not going to resonate with everybody, but what I can tell you is I kept track of my symptoms and matched it up to the Schumann for over a year, and I kept track of this. So the information I'm sharing with you, I've really done my research on it, and I'm doing my best. It doesn't fit with everybody, and that's okay. That's the best part about your spiritual life, is what works for you works for you. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay too. Hello from Arizona. I'm so glad to see everyone. I heard we now have to synchronize ourselves to the earth to the earth here beat. Oh, you mean heartbeat? So grounding is very helpful for your energy. I have not received that information in my meditations or in my channelings, but you have to do what works best for you, right? All right, so it is almost 10 after, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the class. We are starting at the very beginning. Yes, hello from Washington State. Welcome in. We're starting at the very beginning of spirituality with our first class today. We're going to talk about what is a spiritual awakening. So what I did was I pulled together some information. I did some research. I included my own information, all kinds of stuff, and I created this short lesson. I'm going to read to you what I wrote. It's right here in front of me. Once I have finished talking about this, reading this, absolutely we can get into questions. So make sure you write down your questions. I don't want you to forget, okay? All right, so let's see. Are you guys ready? This is pretty short because spiritual awakening is open into a lot of interpretation, and this is just the first class. So a spiritual awakening is a profound and often life-altering journey of self-discovery and expanded consciousness. It marks a pivotal moment in a person's life when they experience a heightened awareness of their interconnectedness with the universe and a deeper understanding of their true nature beyond the confines of the ego. And when I say ego, I'm not talking about the conflated part of yourself or what people say, you're so egotistical. I'm not talking about that part of ego. I'm talking about ego as in human mind, right? There's nothing wrong with that part of your mind. Most of the time, it's literally just doing its job, which is to protect you, right? So you don't want to get too off in the weeds about what does ego mean. We're just talking about human mind here. So the idea about spiritual awakening is that you're starting to see beyond what your human mind can perceive, right? Spiritual teachers like Ram Dass, Dolores Cannon, Daniel Rechnitzer, Eckhart Tolle, and others have extensively explored and discussed the various dimensions of the transformative process. So there's all different things that can come from this. For some people, spiritual awakenings are they kind of eventually develop based on, little discoveries you make about yourself. For some people, they are very disruptive. They can change everything, especially if you have a strong belief system in something like organized religion. It can really shake your foundations there. As far as what causes a spiritual awakening, it's all over the board. Quite frankly, it's typically some kind of traumatic event that requires you to reevaluate your situation in a way that changes things. So in order to kind of help you understand, I'm going to share my story, okay, of my awakening. That way you kind of get a sense of what it was like for me, and maybe you can relate this to yourself, okay? So my awakening experience started at the beginning of COVID, like many other people. 2 years prior to my awakening, I had been diagnosed with a very serious illness known to cause blood clots. It actually almost killed me, okay? This disease is rare and hard to treat, so I already had extreme anxiety about the world around me when COVID hit us. Because of one of the side effects of COVID was blood clots, I was told by my doctor that should I get COVID, it was likely going to kill me. Yes, he actually called me on the phone and told me this one day at the very beginning of COVID. So you can imagine what this did for my anxiety. At this point, my colleagues, which I want to point out to you, I used to work at a medical school. I taught at a medical school. I taught simulation to new doctors and new PhDs. I have been a nurse for over 25 years, and I have degrees in psychology and advanced medical education. So I'm a well-educated, very scientifically minded person. And when this happened to me, I was teaching at a university with nothing but PhDs and MDs. So yeah, try going through a spiritual awakening in that atmosphere. It's not very easy. So at this point, during COVID, my colleagues and I had been sent home from the university to work from home, like most people, and suddenly allowing me the time I needed to begin to research my own disease. So I had this disease for 2 years, and because of procrastination and whatever else, I didn't really look into it much. Now I had this extra time on my hands, and I thought, wow, I have access to one of the best medical libraries in the country. Why am I not researching this? Why am I not taking control of my own treatment, right? So I sat down one day and I get into the virtual library of the university and I start researching all of this, right? I lost my place here. Using the library from the university where I worked, I began a journey of deep research into not just the disease I had been told I had. I learned everything I could about all the diagnostic requirements, treatment options, and possible end results of this disease. Until this point, I had been content with the idea that my doctor knew everything he needed to know about the disease and had simply taken him at his word, right? Like a lot of us do. We'd just say, okay, you're the expert. Okay. During my research, I discovered that there were criteria for diagnosis that I had not met, tests that had not been performed as far as I could tell that were vital for the diagnosis of this disorder. Taking all of this new information, I went back to my primary care doctor and asked him to look over everything, expecting him to find what I had not, which was evidence that these tests had been performed and the diagnosis would be confirmed. That's what I expected walking into this. I didn't think I was finding out I didn't have it. I thought I was figuring out, I just wanted to learn more about it. That's all. After speaking to my primary care doctor, he decided to reorder some of the testing for me just in case, and so I would feel better. I got very much that, it's okay, we'll reorder it. I'm sure it's fine, right? So he reorders the test. The next day, the doctor called me and told me I did not have the disease. Furthermore, there were no long-term studies to predict how this medication I had been taking twice a day for 2 years would affect my organs and my body without the disease process also working, right? Looking back, I had always had a little bit of an uneasy feeling about this diagnosis that had been chalked up to my anxiety by my doctor, my family, and even my friends. This was when my awakening stepped in, not just turning everything I thought I knew into mush, but transforming my life through the refinement fires of the universe. I had allowed myself to become so entrenched in victim mentality of someone else did this to me. And I had allowed myself to wrap myself completely in the diagnosis I had been given, making it my entire identity, that when you took that away, I didn't know who I was anymore. I literally spent a week in bed. I couldn't function. I didn't know what to do. I kept telling my husband, I feel like I have to go apologize to every person who thought I had this disease. I could not get out of my head about it. It was really terrible. And my doctor did the best he could, but he basically said, there's nothing I can do. Like, just stop taking the medicine, right? Which I did. One day, my daughter, who is now an adult and moved out of the house, but my daughter came into my room and she said, hey, listen to this. This is a guided meditation. And I don't remember which one it was or anything like that. And at first, I really fought her on it. No, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. That's woo-woo BS crap. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. She said, okay, well, I'm going to leave it here. And if you decide to do it, I think it would be helpful. So I said, okay. I don't remember how long it was afterwards, but I finally decided, you know what? It can't be any worse. Hi, Anne. It can't be any worse. So I put in my earbuds, and you have to understand, I have a very busy mind. Not only am I very type A, or was I very type A, I also have ADHD that I used to take medication for. So I legit, my brain is like firing on all cylinders. I have a walk-in closet in my bedroom. So I go in my bedroom, I turn off the light and close the door. I go in the closet, turn off the light, close the door. I put on a blindfold to try to force myself to be still. And I started listening to this meditation. And I wish I could explain to you what actually happened, but there are no words to explain the experience I had. At first, I was just fighting with myself, and then it was like all of a sudden I decided to just let it go. And I let go and really tuned into what this person was saying. Hi, from Northern Illinois. Abby, I'm also in Northern Illinois. Tuned into what I was saying, right? Tuned into what they were saying. And I experienced waves of energy from the top of my head to my feet and back up and down and up and down. My earbuds started to shock me in my ears. I had to pull them out because they were shocking me. I started seeing colors in the space. I ripped the blindfold off my face thinking someone had opened the door, but no, I was just seeing these colorful explosions in the space. I was hearing these tones in and out, in and out, in and out. And it just was really, really overwhelming. I think you had a really great comment there. I want to see it real quick. I lost it. Hold on. I don't know how to... Okay, here we go. Many times, I lost it. I wonder why a lot of us awaken people had to struggle with an illness before or during this. I was struggling with Lyme disease. Oh, my comments will not stay up. I was struggling with Lyme disease and co-infections. Yeah. Many times our lessons show us not to give away our authority and honor ourselves first. Yes, absolutely. Release all labels and judgments. It is easy to say and so hard to do, right? So hard to do. Makes you wonder how many others have experienced being told they have a dis-ease and really don't know. Yeah, so as someone who was in the medical field, I'm going to tell you, medicine is a wonderful tool. It is valuable and it is needed, but it is incomplete. I believe wholeheartedly that wellness is about wellness, not feeling your symptoms, right? Medicine, physical medicine can be very helpful to help you with the symptoms of the disease you are experiencing long enough to give you clarity of mind to start working on the underlying energetic causes. Yes, I 100% believe that every disease has an energetic start and an energetic end. I believe we can all heal ourselves with the work necessary. I'm not talking about magic. I'm not. It's not magic. It's just you tuning into who you really are and listening to your body instead of everything else. What you put in your body matters. How you treat yourself matters. How you speak to yourself matters. We are all made of energy, even down to the smallest particles in our body. The quarks, it's vibrational strings. Look it up. The smallest particle in your body is a set of vibrational strings, and they attract like law of attraction, okay? So once I had this meditative experience where I was seeing all this stuff and I didn't know what the heck was happening to me, I went and had a Reiki session because I didn't know what in the world was going on, and I could feel energy running through my body constantly. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea what was going on. I thought it was crazy. I went back to my primary care doctor, as a matter of fact, and sat across from him and explained to him what was going on, and he kept having this look, and I said, I think I need to go to the psychiatrist, and he said, I think you need a vacation. So he was very kind about it, and he said he was not going to give me medication for it. I can figure it out. He suggested Reiki. I go have Reiki done, and that was another mind bomb for me. I had heard of it as a nurse. They have a practice called healing touch, which is kind of similar. I'm not trained in it, but I know what it is. So I kind of had the idea, but I didn't understand the concept behind it. When I had the Reiki done, the woman who did it for me was very powerful, and she really straightened my energy out. She said it looked like a bomb had gone off, and quite frankly, that's what it felt like. And she told me, now is your opportunity. This is the door opening for you, allowing you to decide how you want to live your life. This is the nexus point, right? This is where you decide, am I going to awaken and go down this path, or am I going to choose to stay in comfort, disillusionment, and all that stuff and stay where I am? It's up to you. You have the choice. as someone in science, I was absolutely intrigued with the idea of energy in the body and how this works. So I went that direction. That's kind of where my journey started. It's been a very up and down road. I've got to tell you, your awakening is not meant, I don't want to say it's not meant to be easy. It's never going to be easy. I've never met a single person who goes through an awakening and says, wow, I could do that again. No, thank you. I would rather not do that again. But an awakening experience, your primary awakening, tends to be very disruptive because it calls into question a lot of things you think you know. For example, medicine. You're looking at someone who was a patient care practitioner for 25 years, someone who was constantly helping people with their medications, explaining diseases. I understand the science. I have all that stuff. And here's my awakening with a 2x4 right to my forehead to say, you think you know some stuff, but guess what? You don't. So fun. But starting along this journey has been absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm learning every day, and that's a big part of it. Yeah, let's see what this says. For a bunch of years, I seem to get shocked on everything. I go to the opened corridor door. Yeah, so if your energy's out of control, I have seen that happens. I've also seen it happen when there's a lot of static electricity in the space. You know what? I have learned a lot of things. So, for example, I've learned how to control my own energy, which has been immensely helpful. Learning to do Reiki on yourself is a massive tool. Yes, if your energy is out of control, it's very uncomfortable. It can make you feel anxious. It can make you feel buzzy. It can make you feel like kind of the feeling of when you take cold medicine, you're a little detached from yourself. It can make you feel like that. Learning how to do Reiki on yourself can be very, very helpful if you're experiencing that. And there are a lot of free resources here on YouTube. If you go and you search Reiki Level 1 attunement or Reiki Level 1 class, there'll be a free one on here. You don't need to learn from a place that costs $1,000 just to teach you the same thing. Just find someone that resonates with you, okay? So that's kind of my story. Common symptoms of a spiritual awakening encompass a wide range of psychological, emotional, and physical shifts. Those of us undergoing an awakening often report a heightened sense of intuition and a deeper connection to our inner selves. For me, it began with a feeling of uncontrolled energy in my physical body. I started to feel like there were currents of energy movement around my feet and lower legs, no matter where I was or what I was doing, and they were always present. It's kind of the feeling of like when you stand on top of a vent that's sort of like barely on, it's just barely moving air all the time, constantly. And it was okay at first, and it got very, very annoying, right? I started to notice the lights would flicker in the rooms where I were. The electronics in my car even started acting weird. This was all part of a sign that my energy was a bit out of control. These symptoms often and purposely lead to the questioning of your conventional beliefs and societal norms that once governed your lives. Dissatisfaction with material pursuits and a longing for a more personal and more meaningful experience begin to emerge as we start to recognize the impermanence of material possessions. As conveyed by spiritual teacher Ram Dass, a spiritual awakening can be accompanied by a profound shift in perspective, leading to a dissolution of the ego and a more compassionate outlook on life. Similarly, Eckhart Tolle emphasizes the importance of being present in the moment and embracing a state of consciousness beyond thought. This shift towards mindfulness and presence can trigger a profound transformation in how individuals experience reality. Dolores Cannon and Daniel Rechnitzer discuss the concept of spiritual awakening in the context of a collective shift in consciousness. Cannon's work often touches upon past life regressions and the exploration of higher realms of existence, which can lead to a broader understanding of one's purpose and connection to the universe. Rechnitzer focuses on expanding awareness through deeper introspection and the recognition of the interconnectedness of all things. In essence, a spiritual awakening is a multifaceted process that goes beyond the mere intellectual understanding, delving into the realm of personal experience and inner transformation. As described by these spiritual teachers, the journey involves shedding limiting beliefs, embracing mindfulness, and cultivating a more profound connection with the universe and one's true self. It's a process that invites individuals to step out of their comfort zones, explore their inner landscapes, and ultimately find a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment in their lives. So that's my basic story and the basic breakdown of what a spiritual awakening is. Hi from Palatine. My goodness. Hello. Mindfulness is very, very powerful. Block someone who challenges. No, that's not what that means, buddy. You can't make someone understand what they refuse to listen to. She's very true. I'm just going to remove this person. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. I appreciate the help there, you guys. All right, so I want to talk about your questions. Hey, thank you so much for being here from England, Peaceful Warrior. I love the name. Just watched a movie last night that these aliens were using the same hand sign that you made. Wow, no coincidence. Right, so that's a great synchronicity, right? So synchronicities, let's talk about synchronicities for just a second, because this is something people get very excited about after their awakening. They start seeing repeated numbers and all this stuff. Those are wonderful. Synchronicities are like playing the hot and cold game with your guides and your higher self. Okay, so this is how I want you to remember synchronicities. It's not so much about what does seeing 111 mean, right? If you feel like looking that up, when you type it into Google, you're going to get 7,000 answers about what it means. Each one is an interpretation of the person who wrote it, right? So as you go through them, make sure you're listening. Does this feel right or not, right? Go with what feels right. This is you listening to your inner self, okay? This is you listening, right? So listen to that feeling. As you go through that, I want you to also remember it's not always about what is 111 and what does it mean. A lot of the times what it's about is when you're seeing a bunch of them in a row, okay? Learning to communicate with your guides with non-physical is like two people who speak very different languages trying to learn a common language. It's like me speaking English and you speaking French and we both have to learn Russian. What? Like, it's not easy. They have to come down in vibration. You have to rise in vibration. So it's an attuning process. So when you're first going through your awakening, your guides are literally going to throw everything at you to try to get your attention. Everything. They're going to show you repeated numbers. They're going to show you feathers and coins and buttons and all kinds of synchronicities. And a synchronicity is anything you look at and you go, oh, that's cute. That's cool. Woo. But don't get too caught up in what does this number mean. Instead, you want to do yourself the favor of just accepting it as a sign of being on the right trail, right? So it's like playing a hot and cold game with your guides. The more synchronicities in a row or during the day that you are seeing, the more in alignment with your higher self you are. If you go a day or two and you don't notice any synchronicities, it's an excellent opportunity to reflect on the last day and think to yourself, okay, what choices did I make that may have pulled me a little bit out of alignment, and how can I go back and fix it? It's a barometer for keeping yourself in alignment, right? It's a barometer for keeping yourself in alignment. Kelly, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. If a Saturn return can trigger a spiritual anything can trigger a spiritual awakening. I have to tell you, Kay Burris, anything can trigger a spiritual awakening. I've seen people be triggered by loss of family members or a death in the family. I've seen change in job, change in circumstances. All of those things can absolutely trigger an awakening. Chronically Me says, do you feel like you had nudges through your life leading up to your awakening? That's an excellent, excellent question. So looking back, when I was a child, I can remember having conversations with someone. And I can remember these vividly now, like looking back, up until probably about the age of 5 or 6. I I always remembered that, but I never remembered why I stopped doing that or what it was. I thought it was an imaginary friend. I just thought I had a crazy mind, right? But as I go through my awakening, I start to realize I think I was actually talking to my guides. I think I was actually speaking to my guides. I think it was very connected as a child. And through this, a memory came to the surface of I was telling my dad one time. I had to have been probably six, maybe seven, but six. I think I was in kindergarten or first grade. And I was telling my dad something about a story that this imaginary friend had told me. And I distinctly remember him stopping me and calling me a liar and telling me I was making it up. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're in trouble for lying. And that's when I shut the door on that, right? And I embodied that and I stopped allowing it to come through because self-preservation took precedence, right? So I cut it all off. What's really ironic is in my undergraduate studies, I took an abnormal psychology class and I had to write a paper about this sort of stuff. And I had to pull it apart. I had to go in and talk about how people are just looking for validation and all this stuff. And I actually wrote specifically Doreen Virtue, which, if you don't know who she is, she used to be very big in this realm. She used to talk to angels and all kinds of stuff before she converted back to Christianity. Of course, ironically, I come this way, she goes that way. But that's who I wrote my paper about. Years later, come full circle, one of my mentors gives me a gift, and it's a book by Doreen Virtue about her spiritual experience. And I felt, wow, that is a full circle synchronicity. Look at this. Look at my own unwillingness to compromise what I believed or to look beyond what I thought was true. Here it is right back in my face. You know what I mean? Oh, no, that's too bad. UK, hello, UK. Let's see. Yes. So Kern says, my vibrations are very strong at home when I'm alone. It's been a very lonely journey for me. Yes. So a lot of times I will tell you, we have to be isolated because we're not in a situation that's conducive to our growth. So we'll get the feeling of things falling away from our lives, but you kind of have to look at it like making room for something better. You know what I mean? Not everything is good. Complacency isn't good either. You get complacent, you stop paying attention to what's happening around you. Let's see. Sometimes I wonder if I can go back to sleep. I got to tell you, it's your choice. It's always your choice. You're never going to be forced to do anything spiritually that you don't want to do. It's always your choice. You can absolutely go back to sleep. I don't know that you'll forget everything, but I have seen plenty of people who have decided that this wasn't for them and they couldn't do it. Awakening can very much be a lonely journey. It can absolutely be a lonely journey. Can I see the ships within the clouds? So, Shelley, I will tell you, I am someone who does believe that there are beings besides ourselves out there. I can't see the ships in the clouds. I will tell you, I have taken a ship that I saw at night. It was really interesting, and at first it just looked like a star. I took a picture with my phone, but when I zoomed in, it was not a star. Not a star. Very interesting. New Zealand, hello. We learned how to walk at home alone with only plant medicine. Cracked me wide open. Yes, I'm a big, big believer in plant medicine. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Skywatcher and Nature Lover. I thank you very much for that. Yes, so I don't have it. My husband's an atheist. I want to address this belief. Shoot. I wanted to pin your comment. I'm just learning how to do this. Where did it go? All right, I can't pin your comment, but it says, I respect everyone's opinions on their beliefs, but as an atheist, I hope people show me the same respect. Yes, 1,000%. It is 100% your choice, friend. I'm not here to convince anybody. As a matter of fact, if you find something that works for you to bring you peace, I don't care what it is. I'm glad that you found it, because you know what? More people don't find it. So whatever it looks like for you, I'm glad for you. I'm very happy for you. I want you to find what works best for you, okay? And that's the thing. Let's talk about that for a second. It doesn't work to drag someone to a belief because they're never going to really believe. And all that does is show that you don't have faith in your own belief. Right? So if you're trying to force people to see your side of things, that shows you don't believe enough in what you believe to trust that they will find the truth on their own. That's very contrary to me. I have no need to convince anybody. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm here to offer you my truth. It may resonate with you and it may not. And either way, I'm still friends with you. I don't have to have you say you agree with everything, right? I'm just here to offer you what I have, and that's it. It's not bad. My husband's an atheist. And here's me, right? It's one of those things where he says he's my number one fan. He supports me. And so what that means is he'll hand my cards out and tell people about me, and people say, "Oh, what does your wife do?" And he goes, "I don't know, space magic, woo-woo stuff. Check her out." It's just not for him, and that's okay. It's a very clear testament you can coexist together. It's not about me trying to convince him. It's not about him trying to convince me. We just love each other where we are. That's what it's about. Oh, you finally got some sun. I'm so glad you got some sun. Yes, I see that. Huge believer in plant medicine. I'm unfortunately not able to use it without addiction. I have more healing to do because before I can use and not chase the high. I get it. I get it. And you know what? Just the fact that you recognize that, I hope you give yourself credit for that, because that's not easy. Just the fact that you recognize that, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And I'm very excited that you are allowing yourself to do that. I'm very excited that you're giving yourself that opportunity. Hi, Canada. I'm in northern Illinois. I'm right on the Wisconsin border. I actually live in Woodstock, which is where Groundhog's Day was filmed. So when you watch Groundhog's Day, that's literally exactly what the town still looks like. Still a little bitty baby town. Yeah. Plant medicine. So here's something. I can't make someone realize that raspberry pie is the best pie. That's exactly true. And you know what? Just because you like raspberry pie doesn't mean that apple pie isn't good, right? Right? It's all about you and what you need. That's the best part about spirituality for me. The best part about spirituality is it's individual to you, friend. You. This is about you and your journey and what you need for you. It's not about convincing anybody else or trying to make anybody else happy. I'm going to tell you right now. Listen closely. It is not your job to be the reason someone is not bored or unhappy. That is not your job. Deuces to those things, okay? I want you to think of it this way. Let's say I tell you I'm having a really terrible day. And you say, "Oh my gosh, how can I help you? How can I make you happy?" And I say, "I really want spaghetti." And you're like, "Okay, great. I'm going to make spaghetti." So for hours, you break your back making the best homemade sauce and the best homemade noodles. And I'm sulking over here in my energy this whole time. But you're making all this stuff and you're doing that. You're breaking your back and it's making you feel good because you think you're going to help me. Okay, great. You make it. You serve me this wonderful spaghetti and I eat it. And yes, I'm really, really happy for 10 minutes. And then I'm done eating. And then you're going to have to break your back, chasing your tail, trying to make me happy again. While we can be mindful of others' needs and mindful not to hurt other people, it is not our job to make someone else happy. And as a matter of fact, is it impossible to do that? No one can make you feel anything. You choose all of your reactions. You do, subconsciously or consciously. You choose it. So it's about learning to feel where you are and learning to respond rather than react. One of my favorite sayings in the whole world is when you react, you become the villain in somebody else's story. But when you respond, you stay the hero in your own story. And I think those are very, very wise words, and I live by them. All right, I'm going back here. Oh, north of Rockford. Nice. So my shop is in Schaumburg, Kelly, if you're ever out that way. Let's see. Ninja Ninny says, "My other half isn't spiritual either. He is an atheist too, but never disrespects my beliefs. I hold moon nights and my spiritual friends and watches football upstairs." Absolutely. I read tarot cards for a living. My husband has a hard time explaining that to people. He just decided it's none of their business. They can look it up. That's right. You cannot change anyone but yourself, Lori, 100%. Ava says, I believe we're not alone and our inner spiritual side is massive and held back. There's more a species to. Yes, I agree with you, Ava. So my understanding is that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, not a person with a soul. You're a soul with a person. And so here's a way to explain that. Someone said this the other day on TikTok, and I thought it was the most brilliant explanation of like higher self and past lives and stuff. So you know what it's like to play Mario, right? So you get your controller and you look at the board and you say, all right, I got all these obstacles to get through. The best character to get through this is Mario. So you get Mario and you put him in there and you're going through and you're operating him. You are not Mario, but Mario is experiencing the game, yes? So you're talking to Mario through this controller, telling him, jump now, do this, do this. I mean, it's a little different, obviously, because we have free will, but you get the idea. Then let's say you try to jump over the lava pit and dang, Mario's legs are just too short and stubby and he cannot make it over that lava pit. Dang, bloop, he goes in the lava and you're like, oh man, you are fine. Mario's gone, you are fine. So then you look and you say, you know what? Yoshi is better for this. You get Yoshi and you give him the signals and you tell him what to do. He comes to the lava pit. Yoshi is able to get over. This is what we mean by higher self being separate from you. Your higher self is in constant communication with you. If you choose to listen or not is a different story, but your higher self is in constant communication with you, okay? It's like a GPS. We're all born with the GPS. At some point, most of us think, I know better, and we turn off the GPS. Then we end up in Canada when we were trying to go to Florida, and we're like, well, now what do I do? Oh, let me turn the GPS back on. Speaking to your inner self, doing your meditations. All right, let's see. What else do we got? I literally watched a documentary on Woodstock, the Festival of Love, just the other day. I loved it and wished it to be again our version. Yeah, different kind of Woodstock, but I meant, oh, you grew up in Wakanda, Baja girl. Yes, Woodstock has a great farmers market. You're absolutely right. Right. So, hallelujah. This is what I have to say to that. Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. I don't think he was talking about him as a physical person. I believe Jesus came to create more Jesuses, not Christians. He didn't believe you needed to follow anyone. He believed you could do it yourself. It was all within. I believe in Jesus's teachings. I don't think they're complete. I think man got a hold of him and screwed him up. And I think there's more to the story. So it's about that, right? But I want you to do whatever you feel is best for you, right? K-Burr said, I'm still trying to figure out how to connect with my guides. So I know this is very frustrating. I get it. And this, I hate saying this, but it is the God's honest truth. The more you try to make it happen, it's the less likely it is to happen. And here's why. Because you're carrying an expectation of what it's going to look like, and you put a goal on yourself to make it happen. Those are two big blocks. With learning to communicate with your guides, it is very much about getting into a meditative practice where your mind is quiet enough for you to actually hear what they are saying. Because it's not that they aren't speaking to you, it's that the outside world is so loud you can't hear them, right? So the idea is you get into a meditative state and you quiet your mind long enough to get small inspirations. Following those small inspirations will lead you to better things, to better places. It's not meditation, for me at least, and for most people I know, is typically not about big, giant, holy cow moments. It's about little, tiny sparks of ideas that lead you somewhere. It's about the breadcrumbs. It's about getting ready to be ready to be ready. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not about magic. It's not going to drop it in your lap. It goes very much along with the saying of God helps those who help themselves. Okay? You ask Source, I want love. Source gives you opportunities to feel love. You ask Source, I want success. Source gives you opportunities to find success, but you must take the action to do it. It's not going to be dropped in your lap. And that's the hard part for a lot of people because we get in our own way. The best way to learn to communicate with your guides is to meditate and then notice the things that happen to you, the sensations in your body. This is not something I learned to do overnight. I've been awake for over 4 years and I've spent more than 2.5 years through massive meditative development. I've done a lot of shadow work. I've done a lot of stuff for myself to get to this point. And I still use cards to receive clarity from my guides. You know, it's different for everybody, but you can't get frustrated and you can't get all in your head about it. You are an energetic being having an energetic experience in a human form. Absolutely. Yes, and I believe that, Mick. My wife told me I'm more spiritual than anyone at her church. Yes, the church is a lot about control. Okay, so back in the day, I want you to remember, back in the day when the clergy was created, people didn't know how to read. So you needed the clergy to read the book to you so that you could understand. It was not meant to interpret the book. It was meant to read the book. But over time, that clergy gained power and it became about control. You can read whatever you want yourself. As far as I know, you know how to read. Find the material yourself and read it yourself. Find the message within it yourself. The church is a lot about making you feel bad for not going with exactly what they say. But I guarantee you that is not what Jesus came here for. He did not come here to teach you that you were not a sovereign being. He came here to teach you that you are a sovereign being. And the way to source, to God, to the light, whatever you want to call it, is in you. In you. It's within, it's understanding. Hello from India. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, I hope that being over there in Ukraine, I can't imagine. I cannot even imagine. And I'm sending you all kinds of love. Okay, so Ninja Ninny, that's a great question. I am pregnant. What is going on with our babies in utero where our bodies are upgraded and ascending? So here's a great question. So this is my understanding of how this works. This comes from listening to Bashar, Dolores Cannon, Esther Hicks, my own experiences, and my channelings, okay? So my understanding is that when the baby is in utero, the soul is not in the baby typically very often. It's in and out, in and out, in and out. The body is what's growing in that time. The spirit does not need to grow in that space, just the body. It's when the baby is born that the spirit comes into the form. The reason babies sleep so often is because the spiritual self is continuously leaving to learn new things and come back and apply it. Learn something new and come back and apply it. This is my understanding, is that the choice is not made until birth whether or not the soul is going to enter the body. If the baby is born and alive, then the soul has entered the body. If the baby is not born or doesn't make it to term or something like that, then there was something that needed to change beforehand, and it is just about it wasn't the right time. And I know that for someone who's lost a child, that is not necessarily what you want to hear, but that's my understanding of it. So as far as your baby goes, your the body is just growing normally. The soul version is traveling and doing whatever it needs to do. So when you are receiving these upgrades in this energy, it's for your physical body. The baby is okay. It's a separate thing. At least that is my understanding. Yes, yes. Congrats on the baby girl. Let's see. Ava says, I died twice through a drug overdose in one night. Wow. I had to restart my heart twice in 3 hours. I can honestly say I felt, battled, and experienced my soul return to body. I cannot even imagine. That does sound super crazy. Yes, let's see. Vibrations are very strong, couldn't sleep right now. So here's something really interesting, Kearns, that you might want to understand. The more you learn to work with your energy, the more efficient it becomes in processing, the less you will sleep. It can be very annoying. So here's a good example. As an energy channel, I literally run my energy all day long, and running my energy means I open my channel on both ends and I'm pulling energy down, cycling energy through. I do this when I read cards. I do it when I do this class, all this stuff. So I'm constantly cycling my energy. My energy is very efficient. I never get sick. I've never had COVID. And I have not had a cold, and I don't even know how long. I don't get sick. I'm very healthy in my body, right? So because my energy is efficient, when I go to sleep, my physical body sleeps in about 1.5 to 2 hour segments, right? So I'll go to sleep. I fall asleep, drop of a hat. I could fall asleep right now if I wanted to. Fall asleep like a drop of a hat. But I will wake up every 1.5 to 2 hours. And I'm not talking about sort of wake up. I'm talking about wake up, wide awake. And what I've learned is if I don't get up, so I need what I have to do is get up, move my body for a minute, Sometimes I go to the bathroom, sometimes I get a drink of water, go back to bed, I will go back to sleep. If I stay in the bed and just fight with myself, all that does is cause frustration and I don't go back to sleep. So keep that in mind. The more efficient you become with your energy, the less your body will need to sleep, okay? Also, don't be surprised if you stop wanting to eat meat, especially red meat. As your vibration rises, you will notice you will be drawn to different foods, higher vibrational foods. I have nothing against anybody who eats meat. I want you to eat what makes you happy. But what I noticed for me is after my awakening and as I started doing this work on myself, if I ate meat, it genuinely made me feel sick. I did not feel good. And so I became a vegetarian very naturally in that way because of that. I also stopped drinking soda. I stopped doing a lot of things that just didn't feel good anymore. Not because I was trying to prove anything to anybody, but just because it didn't feel good anymore. As your vibration rises, you are going to notice that you are drawn to different things. So I'm sorry, but this person, I'm not going to have a theological argument with you. I'm just not. All right. So let's see. Okay. So Ava, I want you to understand there's no judgment in this space. This is a judgment-free space. If someone has judgment, I would kindly ask them to take it somewhere else. So I want to talk about this. Using a Ouija board. I don't have a problem with a Ouija board. Why do you have a problem with a Ouija board? Because society's told you it's bad. It's a conduit. If you are not ready to use it and you use it, it could be unpleasant and you could get something. But I want you to understand, I want every single person to understand in this room, you are 100% in control of your energy, 100%. At any time, if someone tells you you're cursed or whatever, you can say no thank you and it will not happen to you. Law of attraction is where that comes in, okay? If someone tells you you're cursed and you go, oh my God, I'm cursed, law of attraction, by the way it states, must then reflect to you reasons for you to believe that you are cursed. It is all about you and what you believe to be true. I have used a Ouija board myself to get answers to different questions and stuff like that. I use it cautiously and I use it with clean energy and all that sort of stuff, but it's not, the Ouija board itself is not evil, right? All right. I left my church when I was a teenager. Yeah, more and more people are starting to do that. Edgar Cayce, yes, Edgar Cayce. So Edgar Cayce, the Sleeping Prophet, he's a fantastic resource. He was a fantastic channel. I've actually been to the Edgar Cayce Center in Virginia Beach. I grew up in Virginia, so I am very familiar with Edgar Cayce. Hi, Jen. I'm so glad you made it. What classes did I take as far as which thing? I wish I remember. Let's see. Every 2 hours. Yeah. Stopped eating meat 4 years ago. Smell alone makes me feel queasy. Yeah. I find I have no appetite at all right now. So I will tell you right now, I have not had an appetite in about 5 days. Just not hungry. There's a lot of energy coming in. And as your DNA changes from a carbon-based to a light-based DNA, you will experience that also. It's just part of upgrades and changes and stuff. I find that. Okay. Hello from Fort Wayne. Hello. Yes, alcohol. That's another one. The name of my shop in Schaumburg is The Conscious Chrysalis. We are on Wise Road in Schaumburg. Yes, be intentional with everything you do, 100%. To understand and work with your energy. Oh, thank you, Jen. So, yeah. So, hello from England. Hello. All right. So, hold on to the question about tarot cards. I'll get back to you. Okay. That's okay. That's okay about the plants. That's okay. Oh, that's very cool about the violet Tesla wand. Okay. So, see, I got squirreled here. All right. To understand and work with my energy. Yes. Sorry. I'm back. Okay. So, I took Reiki. I did not take a big fancy class. I took a free YouTube class and learned how to work with my own energy. Reiki is very, very helpful because it structures your energy, right? It can be overwhelming to think, how do I work with all of this? How do I do all this, right? Reiki is helpful because it structures it and tells you start here, do this first, right? What are we here to achieve, as in this class or as in life? Do I do mentoring? So I do and I don't. I offer intuitive mentoring through my website. And what that is 30 minutes face to face with me. We do it virtually or in person, and we can do whatever you want in that time. If you want me to talk with you about limiting beliefs or how to get through law of attraction or any of that sort of thing as a species, hold on one second. If you want to talk about any of that, we can do that. If you want to do energy work, we can do that. If you want to read cards, we can do that. So that's kind of what I do. I don't have a structured mentoring program. I like to do it more that I want you to ask your questions and I want you to receive the answer you need in the moment. As far as tarot cards are hard to learn, okay? I'm going to tell you. There are a lot of them. This is a tarot deck. There's a lot of cards. The thing with tarot to remember, it's a very specific story. It's the journey of the fool through all four of these kingdoms, okay? So tarot has very specific meanings. This particular deck, okay, this is called the Tarot-torial deck. I know it's reversed, I'm sorry, but it's called the Tarot-torial deck. This is an excellent deck to learn tarot with because it gives you the card. And then on the card, it tells you what it means in upright, what it means in reverse, and then it gives you all the elements associated with it. So this deck, I very much, if you want to learn tarot, this is the deck I suggest. I will say, tarot, for me, I have always been drawn to it. I could never do it because I couldn't remember the stinking cards. There's so many. I tend to read oracle cards, but the cards I use, I'm going to show you. The cards I use are actually a combination of tarot and oracle. The Intuitive City Oracle, right? These are the cards I use, and the reason I use them is because it tells you, it gives you the name of the card down here. I know it's hard to see. It's Six of Wands. And then it gives you a one word for upright and right and upside down meanings, right? Six of Wands, victory, or reversed is about setbacks, right? This is the deck I use because I like the oracle part of it. Right. So the difference between tarot cards and oracle cards are a very specific story. Every card has a very specific meaning that's pretty universal. Six of Wands is Six of Wands in every deck, right? Oracle cards are very different. They are open to your intuitive interpretation. I prefer oracle cards from me because it gave me more latitude in the message I was receiving. For me, the way I use cards is like using glasses. It's not the message, it just helps me see the message a little more clearly, right? Affirmation cards are usually just sayings written on a card to remind you to say it every day to help yourself feel better. Yes. Both decks are really cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of energy coming into the system. I've had a couple comments about that. I want to show you guys. Do you see this? This is all the energy we've been receiving over the last, this was yesterday, all day long. For like 8 hours, we're receiving dense, lots of energy. This morning, we got a big spike of energy. This all affects you. It affects everybody differently. Keep that in mind. But ascension symptoms are all over the place with this. Lots of people are experiencing this. You are not alone. I promise you, you are not alone. It's all for the better, right? Thank you, Liz. I appreciate you saying that. Reading tarot in reverse is tricky. So I don't know enough about the tarot journey. You know, I just prefer oracle cards. That's just how they work for me. What's your thoughts on using outside to help be still enough to meditate, such as hemi-sync, binaural beats? Okay, so here's the thing, S. I think meditation is any flow state that you can find. And typically for me, it's a creative state. So I have ADHD. It is nearly impossible for me to try to tell my brain to be quiet because it's in overdrive all the time. My best meditations are active meditations. My favorite one, I put in my earbuds because two things. Number one, it muffles the outside world and people won't talk to you if you have your earbuds in because they figure you're listening to music. I don't turn them on. And then I go for a walk. I immerse myself on a trail outside somewhere and I listen to the beating of my heart and my breathing. That That is a very rhythmic sound that you can focus on. And when your mind starts to wander, it's okay. You catch it, you say, oh, I'm letting my mind wander, and you bring it back. Refocus on the sound of your breathing. That also is a meditation. Meditation is anything that gives you that feeling of flow, that outside of time feeling. You know, it's like when you're having a really good time and you look down and you go, oh my gosh, it's already been an hour. That's a meditation. So don't be so rigid with your definition of what is a meditation. It will really open things up for you. Meditation can come in many places. It also doesn't have to be big blocks of time. It could be 5 minutes here and there. The app for the Schumann, it is just called the Schumann Resonance. That's all it's called. I finally found the Intuitive City Oracle. Yay! They're linked to that. Those cards are linked to a lot of my videos because I use it in much of them. Yes, the energies can definitely affect animals 100%. So I don't know about the weather guy. I don't know about that guy. I can only tell you what I can feel, and just what I feel. So Ava, my genuine answer to your question, what are we here for, is to achieve peace within ourselves, to learn how to consciously create our world around us and achieve peace within ourselves, to realize that we are ultimate creator beings and that we have the power to create our own reality. Claiming our power back to us and not becoming victims, that's a big part of it. I don't believe we're here to do anything other than that, and through taking care of ourselves, our light illuminates the world and raises the consciousness of others. That's very much what I feel like we're here for. I feel like we're here to have a good time. We're here to learn. We're here to experience and grow through that experience. The reason you forget about your spiritual side when you come here is so that you can learn who you are through another perspective. So this is you taking that opportunity to grow outside of your comfort zone. If things were always comfortable, you would have no reason to change. When you come here, you forget who you are so that you can experience that one more time through a different perspective. A woman, a man, a child, a person who can't walk, a person who can't see. All these different perspectives just leading back to who you really are. It's letting go of who society tells you you need to be is the biggest, hardest part of this. Right? That's the biggest part of biggest part of the awakening. Yes, meditate, watering the yard. Absolutely. Absolutely. Coloring is a great way to meditate. I paint. Painting is a great way to meditate. Running, anything that makes you feel like you're in a state of flow. Anything at all. Yes, I've heard of Stephen Burns. I've watched him a couple times. Honestly, I feel like I'm so immersed in this that I try not to let other people influence me. I want to just deliver what I know to be true for me. I love that people have more than one resource, but I don't want to cloud my own judgment. You know what I'm saying? Yes, absolutely. Presence process. I love it. I love the presence process. Let's see. Greetings from Brooklyn. Hey, thank you so much. The clairs. I mentioned the clairs this morning. So clairs are clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, clair hear. It's all the extra senses that we have. It's just the name that they've been given. That's all. I love it. I love it. It's hard. Yeah, tarot, you got to follow your craft. You got to follow your passion, You got to follow your passion. Bashar, who is someone I listen to quite a bit, says that the greatest formula for life is to act on your passion to the best of your ability until you can no longer act on it and then act on the next one. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know what my passion is, but he's not talking about big, giant things. It's little tiny things too. If you have a day with all these opportunities, do the thing that feels the best first and then see where that leads you, being open to the idea that it can lead you somewhere else, right? Following your passion genuinely is how you're going to live your best life. Thank you, Mystic Auto Shaman. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Shanna. I do believe that Jesus was a wonderful teacher. I just think that his words have gotten twisted up into ego, right? And the thing I want to say about ego is this. You have a mind for a reason. Your mind is here to be the barrier between your physical and spiritual experience. It's there to be the interpreter of what you are seeing and feeling in your physical world, right? Your ego's job is to protect you, to keep you safe. That's why your anxiety gets so out of control when there's something that you feel like you don't know about, right? The unknown causes anxiety because your ego is trying to convince you to stay where you are because you don't know what's going to happen. And its job is to keep you safe. Your brain, your ego is not the enemy. It's just learning to work with it, to remember that it can get hyperactive and overprotective like any mama bear, right? It's just trying to keep you safe. As long as you look at your ego as your enemy, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. You have to make peace with all pieces of yourself. You know, just have to make peace with all pieces of yourself. Yes, absolutely. Right. There's billions of us, right? So here's the thing. There's billions of us. There's not a lot of people who are awakening, but more and more are awakening every day. It's not our job to wake anybody else up. It's just not. All you have to do is take care of yourself and your light. What happens, it's like being in a dark room with a lot of people and the lights turned out. If you turn on a flashlight, no other people can't help but see it. And the lighter, the brighter your flashlight gets, the more people can see what's happening around them and realize that maybe they don't like how they feel. Maybe they don't like where they are right now. That's how you bring people to awakening. It's not by forcing them there. It's not by, making them see your side. And if you're trying to explain something to someone who's not on a resonance level with it, what you're saying, they are not going to understand what you're saying. And I don't care how many different ways you explain it. They're just not. You ever experienced that? You're trying to explain something to someone and they're just not getting it, no matter what you say. And you're like, for real? And they're like, I don't know what you're saying. And you're like, oh my God. It's because they're just not in resonance with it. Do yourself a favor and stop trying to explain yourself to someone who just cannot hear you. Wait for them to be able to hear you. You know what I'm saying? Peace with all the pieces within ourselves. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Yes, words don't teach. Words do not teach a thing. They don't. Think about how much math you remember. Think about how much you remember from your English class. Words don't teach. Actions teach. Actions teach. Yes, yes, yes. Like a horse to water. Absolutely. Good. I'm really glad. Follow your true belief. So if you have a decision to make, this is a great tool. This is a Bashar tool. I learned this today. If you have, is this the, it is not the Virginian e-girl group. So if you have a decision to make and you just can't make a decision and you don't know which one you really want, flip a coin. Because if you flip a coin and it lands on tails and you go, oh, that means that I make this choice. Oh, well, there's your answer right there. Sometimes you have to force a choice to see which one you really wanted, right? Flipping a coin is a safe way to do that. All right, you guys. It has now been a full hour. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with me today for the inaugural class of Professor Brown Breaks It Down. I have so far probably about 20 classes written out. We're going to cover each one of the chakras. We're going to start with the root. That's okay. We are going to start with the root next week and work our way up to the crown. Then we will talk about different spiritual teachers, different spiritual practices. We'll talk about law of attraction, manifestation, which are pretty close to the same thing. We will talk about different channels. We'll talk about all the stuff. Yes, same time next Monday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be here live. Tell your friends, write it down, put me in the calendar. If you have a suggestion for a topic that you would like covered, you can email it to me. It's in the show notes, my email. Absolutely email it to me. I am a researcher and a teacher by trade. I will research that topic and present it the best way I can. Then we always open up the end of the class for discussion. So I appreciate your time here with me. You can find me on TikTok. I am Consciously Erin on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube right here. If you are ever interested in a half-hour mentorship time with me, it's linked in the show notes here, but always not necessary. Please follow your intuitions, listen to your heart, and do what's best for you. All right? Also, please understand, I will never message you on any platform and ask if you want a reading. That's not how it works. not for someone who's genuine. Please be mindful, okay? As always, speak to yourself nicely. You hear everything you say. Why be mean to yourself, friend? Next time you start to say something mean to yourself, I want you to stop and think to yourself, would I say that to my 5-year-old? If you wouldn't say that to your 5-year-old, get rid of it. Right? You hear everything you say, and what you say matters. As much as other people may try to teach you it doesn't, it does. I'm just saying. Much love to you too, Kenny. I will see you guys next Monday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every one of you.